As has already been indicated, this is a big day, a historic day at the Life Christian Church, both because of this soft launch of our online campus and an introduction of a new and improved discipleship pathway. This discipleship pathway will help countless people live the life God dreams for them in coming years, whether they are in person at a TLCC campus or a part of our online campus. And through our online campus, anyone, anywhere in the world can be helped by the Life Christian Church to live the life God dreams for them. So over the next few minutes, we're going to discuss both of these initiatives, the online campus, the pathway, and I'm going to talk about the connection between the two, why it matters to all of us who are a part of this local church and all the people, both online and here in this room, who might be thinking about really jumping in and becoming a part of the Life Christian Church and seeing our corporate mission come to pass. Another way to get at this from a big picture perspective is to say that today is a day of mission renewal and vision execution. And I'm going to dig into what I mean by that over the next few minutes. Now, let me go ahead and say that today's teaching time is going to be markedly different from what I normally do on a Sunday morning, or if another member of our team speaks. And that is that most of the time, if you're new to us, you should know that I really dig into Scripture and try to share things from Scripture that impact all of our lives in meaningful ways and so on. And we'll get back to that next Sunday, Lord willing. Today, I really want to spend some time, as good leaders are supposed to do, to remind all the folks who are part of the Life Christian Church of what we're doing and why we're doing it, and to give folks an opportunity to be involved. Some of what I'll say today, those of you who've been around for a few years or forever, as some of you have been, you've heard me say the things I'm about to say a number of times. But there are a lot of people new to the Life Christian Church, lots of people who've become a part of TLCC even during the pandemic, who've never heard an explication. Look that up and make sure it's a word. I'm not sure it is, but it felt good when I said it. Of our mission and why we're doing what we're doing, and particularly how it connects to the launch of our online campus. So I'm going to take a few minutes around that today. You know, many years ago, I heard a wonderful teacher, probably 30 years ago, who made this very simple statement. He said, vision leaks. Vision leaks. And his point was that even the core of an organization who hears the vision will kind of forget about it as life goes on, and they need to hear it. His pedagogy was they need to hear it a month later again. Well, good leaders are constantly reminding people, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing it, and here is how you can be engaged in it. And for me, this is how this can impact your life in powerful ways. So today's one of those days, okay? A couple times a year, we might take some time around this. So 5 years ago, we celebrated 25 years of TLCC as we know it. And during that silver anniversary, we introduced a new mission statement, our present mission statement. Most of you know it. We say it all the time. Our mission is to inspire people to the life God dreams for them as we spread His love in ever-widening circles. Today, and in the series we launched today, I want us to renew our commitment to this mission and again, introduce a new discipleship pathway that will help us get better at launching people like you, into the life God dreams for them. Let me make a couple of comments about the thinking and motivation behind our mission statement. Of course, our mission statement is influenced by the words of Jesus in John chapter 10, verse 10, where He was making a contrast between good leaders and bad leaders, or good shepherds and bad shepherds. I write about this at some length in my book, The Hospitable Leader. And in the course of this conversation, where He's contrasting good leaders and bad leaders, He says the thief, by which He's referring to a bad shepherd, or a bad leader or an immoral leader. The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come that they might have life and have it to the full. The fact is that if you have ever sat under a leader who is not a good shepherd, you will find that it feels as if they're sucking life out of you. And most of us have had a boss like that. I've had a boss like that, where when it's all said and done, you feel taken from more than given to. And Jesus, again, he's talking about leadership in John chapter 10, verse 10. He's talking about leadership in scriptural terms as good shepherds and bad shepherds. And he says, essentially, a bad leader is going to suck life out of you. A good leader is going to put life into you. And Jesus said, I'm a good leader who's going to give you life in all of its fullness. Or, as the Message has it, I came so that they can have real and eternal life, more and better life than they ever dreamed of. So, when all is said and done, I want to make sure that my leadership efforts here puts life into you and joins you to the life that God has brought and is bringing into the world. So, one way that I like to say this is that leaders serve the dreams of their followers. And I'm using follower as a technical word in leadership genre. Leaders serve the dreams of their followers. And a lot of times you get a sense from a leader that the reason that they want people to, quote, end quote, follow him or her is because they want those people to help the leader achieve his or her dreams. And really, when you strip away a lot of leadership efforts, it really is about that. Come and help us. Come and help me achieve our dreams. Well, we've been very intentional here at TLCC, and we work very hard. I'm not saying we do it perfectly, but we work very hard at first saying that our mission is to inspire you to the life God dreams for you. That we get up every day, and in everything that we're doing, we're asking the question, how are we inspiring the people who are part of the Life Christian Church to live the life that God dreams for them? I don't think, though, that a leader needs to make a choice between the dreams of the individual and the dreams of an organization, but rather, if it's a godly enterprise, those two things should actually be joined. Because if you really care about, now I'm talking specifically about a church, specifically about this church, if you really care about the dreams of an individual, you will do everything you can to make sure the dreams of that individual are connected to the dreams of God for this world. It's impossible to live the life that God dreamed for you if you aren't living the life that God dreamed for you in the context of what God is doing in the world. And this is why our mission statement connects the two. To inspire people to the life God dreams for them as we spread his love in ever widening circles. But know this, we get up every day and first of all we say, how can we help the dreams of the people who are part of the Life Christian Church come true? How can we help them live the God dream life? One of my favorite little stories is the story of a little girl who got lost in a big city, and she was confused, wandering around, couldn't remember her address, couldn't find her way home. A policeman picked her up, started driving her up and down streets to see if she would recognize anything, to see if she would see her house. And all of a sudden, this little girl saw the church where her family attended, and she shouted, "There's my church! There's my church! I can find my way home from here." And I like this image that the church should be a place from which anyone can go wherever God's called them to go. That the church is a place from which you can live the life God dreamed for you. That this is a place of empowerment, a place of encouragement, a place of inspiration, a place that offers means and ways for you to get connected to God's dreams for the world and somehow connect what he's made you to do with what he's doing through his church here and everywhere. So I want people to know also that it's impossible to live this more and better life that God dreamed for you unless you're connected to God through what Jesus came to do when he did the gospel. So we need to learn that living the life God dreams for us begins with confessing our faith in Jesus and following Jesus and being in growing relationship with Jesus and getting involved with Jesus and what God's doing in the world. The God dream life involves every aspect of your life, your relationship with God and others, your personal growth and development and becoming more like Jesus, your vocation, your ministry assignments, and more. Living the life God dreams for you is another way of saying discipleship. Now, this is a big idea, as here in the second trimester of the Life Christian Church, our spiritual growth theme. And for those of you new to us, we introduce a new spiritual growth theme every 3 months, and where for 4 months, we go after that thing through our teaching series, through our devotional plans, through recommended readings, through our life group discussions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the theme for this second trimester is discipleship. I think we're calling it something else, but I don't remember what the really interesting name is. Fundamentally, it's about, see, what happens is I come to the creative team and I say, I want to talk about discipleship. And then they come up with some name. I don't remember the name, but that's what they market it with. But fundamentally, what we're talking about this trimester is discipleship. In our last series, and I want to make this point, the life God dreamed for you is another way of saying discipleship. In the last series, we talked about how that in Mark chapter 3, Jesus called to them those he wanted, and that they came to him and were with him, and then he sent them out. We presented this as a beautiful picture of what it looks like to be a disciple. He says, I want you, and we say, I want you too, and we come to him, and then we're with him when we're in relationship with him, and then he sends us out. Discipleship always ends with us being sent out. And so we say yes to his call, we follow him, we're in growing relationship with him, and we're sent by him to do God's work in this world, or as we would say here, to spread his love in ever-widening circles. And I submit that it's only when we truly follow Jesus that we can live the God-dreamed life. So today, I want us to renew our commitment to this mission, where we say as a church that we're doing what we're doing here to inspire people to the life God dreams for them as we spread his love in ever-widening circles. This year marks 30 years of TLC as we know it. And this October, by God's grace, we'll celebrate that. And I want you to know, as the leader, the human leader of this church for 30 years, that I am more in today than I have ever been. I'm not slowing down, I'm speeding up. I know you might look at me and say, he's getting old. You better not say that to my face, especially if you're a guy. We'll talk. But I want you to know truly, I am more invigorated by what God's called me to do. I am more enthusiastic about what God's called this church to do. I am more inspired by the people of this church. I'm more inspired by God's dreams and this gravitational pull towards God's dreams than I ever have been in my life. And I want us to renew our commitment to do what we're doing, to see so many lives changed, and to see people live the life God dreamed for them. I want us to do this more than ever, and I want to invite all of you to join us in this mission, especially today, all of you who've been watching us online, for whom we are now building an online campus where we're thinking about how to help you live the life God dreamed for you and how to help you, wherever you are in the world, spread God's love in ever-widening circles. Here's my prayer. It's the prayer of Habakkuk. Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 2, Habakkuk said, Lord, revive your work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years, make it known. Or as another translation has it, Lord, I have heard of your fame. I stand in awe of your deeds, Lord. Repeat them in our day, in our time, make them known. Look, guys, I can stand here, and I will, and others will, and tell you the stories of the past 30 years about how we grew from a small group of people in the basement of a rented church facility on Main Street in West Orange to the church that we are today. I can tell you story after story after story of how God showed up, of miracles that have happened, of struggles that we've gone through. But the thing I'm more concerned about today, as I stand here as a very young 58-year-old man, I'm concerned about the stories yet to be written. I'm concerned about the stories you are going to help us write. I'm concerned about standing here a decade from now and saying, look what God did. The last 10 years, we've impacted more people with the gospel of Jesus than we ever even thought about in the first 30 years. I love how Max Dupree, in his beautiful book on leadership called Leadership Jazz, he says that a 6-year-old boy at the end of August is my picture of a leader. A 6-year-old boy at the end of August is my picture of a leader. I would say it like this: a leader is like a child at the end of summer. And you know, a child at the end of summer, at least when I was growing up, a child who gets outside and who gets active and who goes after it. At the end of summer, they got a couple teeth knocked out and they've got scratches and bruises and sunburns and that looks like they've been beat up. And you'll see them. I saw a little girl just last week walking around with a brand new cast on her arm. She looked like a girl in the middle of summer. She'd been out active playing and broke her arm, to which I say, good for her. You got to break an arm every once in a while. But you understand the idea of a child at the end of summer. You get that picture? A leader is like a 6-year-old child at the end of summer. You're not naive anymore. You've been through the struggles and the battles and the challenges. You know how hard it is. I know how hard it is. Dudes and dolls sitting here, been a part of this church for 25 years. You know how hard it is to accomplish something great. You know how hard it is, but you're standing there ready to go again. It's like, I can't wait for next summer. I want to know what's going to happen next. Let's get on to the future. It's time to do what God called us to do. 30 years in, and all we've been through, the good and the beautiful and the difficult and the ugly, small beginnings, tremendous sacrifices, tremendous victories, lots of people coming, some people going, capital campaigns and building projects, 9/11, the Great Recession, a pandemic, and here we are, still standing and excited about what's next. And fundamentally, the most important thing for us as a church, and I know this in the depths of my heart, is for us to keep getting up and getting better at what we're already doing, to get up every day and to fulfill our mission. The pathway that we're about to introduce to you is an example of our renewed and continued focus on our mission. Now, I hope by the time we're all said and done, and I'm going to talk just for a little bit more, and then Amanda and Christian are going to come out and talk directly to our online campus that we're launching today, and with a desire to include all of you in the possibilities and what that might mean for you as well. But very important to everything that we're doing around our mission is what we're calling the pathway. And the pathway is fundamentally a discipleship plan that, the way we're designing it, anyone in the world can participate in. Whether you're in person at a TLCC campus or whether you're watching online, as we know that we have people watching in Liberia and London and Arkansas and Kentucky and Boston and Florida and wherever people may be watching. We want people to do more than watch. We want to inspire you to the life God dreamed for you. And so we have worked hard, primarily our pastoral team under Christian Smith's leadership has worked hard to simplify our discipleship pathway in a way where from the moment someone begins to interact with a Life Christian Church, which typically happens online, until, the age to come, we've created a way for people to understand how we want to help them live the life God dreamed for them. And this is going to be spoken to in a little bit more detail, but basically we're saying if you'll follow your GPS, you'll get to the life God dreamed for you. You'll be launched into more and better life than you ever dreamed of. And by the way, some people ask, I know folks must wonder, why do we have airplanes all over the place? Why do kids walk through an airplane to get into K-Port? Why is there an airplane here? Why is the logo for Welcome to the Life an airplane? Well, again, this is one of those things you wouldn't know unless we talked about it every once in a while. But the address here is 747. And years ago, when there were still lots of 747s and people actually flew in them without mask on, we had the opportunity to choose an address between certain numbers. I had an opportunity. I didn't even go ask anybody. I just said 747. And we got this vision that we were building this campus not as a place just for people to come to, but as a place for people to come to and go from. That we want to launch people into the life God dreamed for them. So we started calling this an airport. And we had a campaign where people gave millions of dollars to build the airport. That's why you see the airplanes. That's why the kids walk through an airplane at K-Port, because we want kids to know from as old as they're able to remember, we're here to help launch you into the life God dreamed for you. And, everything we're doing about that. Anyway, back to the pathway. So the G is about growing in your life with God. The P is about participating in life together. The S is spreading God's love. The next 3 weeks, I intend, by God's grace, to do a Bible teaching on each of those things. What does it mean to grow in your life with God? And to say, here's how we want to help you do that. What does it mean to participate in life together? Why is that important? How can we help you do that? We're going to talk about spreading God's love in ever-widening circles. What's the scriptural basis for this? How do we get involved in it? How do we help people be able to do this? So you're going to be hearing a lot about this in coming weeks, coming months, hopefully coming years. And especially, here's the deal. All of you who are contemplating actually becoming an active part of our online campus, not just a passive watcher, but engaged. I just want you to know that we have designed this and everything we're doing moving forward to help you live the life God dreamed for you. We want to do more than just have you watch us on Sunday. We're glad you watch us on Sunday, but we want to help you practice discipleship, to follow Jesus into your God-dreamed life, and to join TLCC people everywhere, and hopefully God's people everywhere in all churches, to spread God's love in ever-widening circles. Okay, let me then say a couple more things, and Amanda and Christian are going to come out and get a little clearer. So what I've just talked about, let's call it mission renewal, okay? We're committed more than ever to our mission. The other thing I want to talk about just for a second is vision execution. Vision execution. We believe that people can only live their God-dreamed lives when they're connected to what God's doing in the world. I'm repeating myself, but I'm doing it intentionally. This is why our mission statement connects the two. Again, I repeat myself. But our mission is to inspire people to the life God dreams for them as we spread his love in ever-widening circles. I think it's impossible for somebody to live their God-dreamed life unless they are engaged in some meaningful way in God's dreams for the world. The two are connected. How can you live the life God dreamed for you if it's just you and it's not him? And if it's not him and his work and his mission. So the two are connected. So I believe that leaders look at people and say, I want to help you become everything God made you to be. But I also believe that in order for you to be everything God made you to be, you need to be involved in something infinitely bigger than yourself. You need to be involved in what God's doing in the world. The two are connected. And it's the ever-widening circles piece, spreading God's love in ever-widening circles, that informs our specific vision emphasis during this season in the life of our church. Our vision during this season, which we introduced in 2018 with great fanfare, but some of you have never seen or at least never heard explained, is Vision 2025. which is TLCC times 5 equals 10K by 2025. And hopefully they'll leave that very complex mathematical formula behind me, and I will try quickly to explain what we mean, the what and the why about that. So what we believe that we've been called to do together as we spread God's love in ever widening circles, we think part of what that will look like in the year 2025 is that we will have 5 TLCC campuses, and today we're launching our 3rd. Now, let me pause and say the Paramus campus, which had to be shut down because of COVID and has been meeting in an AMC theater with all the complexities involved still in trying to figure out how to reopen. And we had 4 theaters rented there on Sunday mornings in Paramus. We're still sorting through all of that, and we don't have answers for that except to say we're thinking about how, when, and even exactly at this point where to relaunch our 2nd campus. And our goal, our plan, is to do that by spring of next year, hopefully, prayerfully, Easter. But we're investing a lot in a lot of other things right now, and we're just kind of trying to figure all that out, okay? So nonetheless, Vision 2025 is 5 campuses by 2025, not campuses that are just having people come, but are leading people through the pathway to the life God dreams for them, and an audience of 10,000 people. And the reason we say that that's TLCC times 5 is because our Easter attendance in 2018 was like 3,000 people. And we're saying by 2025, we want to have 5 times that number. Well, that actually adds up to 15,000. But we're saying that we're praying for 5 campuses and an audience of 10,000. What is our motivation for this audience of 10,000? Where does the language audience come from? And why are we thinking in such big numbers? Well, we were particularly inspired by the words of the great theologian philosopher, Jonathan Edwards, who many consider to be the greatest theologian philosopher in American history. When he died, he was the president of Princeton University. I read an adaptation of his book, which is called Why Did God Create the World? And Jonathan Edwards' answer to why God created the world in brief is this: God was so happy with himself, so happy in the communion of the Trinity, so full of joy, so full of glory, that he wanted someone to share it with. And so Jonathan Edwards said the reason God created the world is that he wanted to expand himself and multiply himself so that he could gain a bigger audience for himself. So you just kind of get this picture that God before creation is saying, I am so happy in who I am. I am so full of my own glory as God that I want to share who I am with someone. And so he creates people. He creates a universe. He creates people. And the reason that he wanted to create people and to create the universe is so God could have a bigger audience to share himself with. Well, we want to create a bigger audience for God. We think that more and more people should have the more and better life that God dreamed for them. That's the motivation behind the bigger audience. And so with that in mind, and finally for me, there are 2 major vision initiatives we're executing right now in order to help us get to TLCC times 5 equals 10K by 2025. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on, but 2 major things that we've been hammering away at pre-COVID, paused it during COVID, and post-COVID, we're all over it again, okay? And the first one is, most of you know this, our All In for the Arts initiative. I'll briefly say that our TLCC School for the Arts is launching this fall. Haven Burton, who's the director of All In for the Arts, is doing an amazing job. We're launching the TLCC School for the Arts this fall. We're building a marvelous studio downstairs. You'll hear more about this in the future, that I'm told by all of our many artists in the church will be a nicer studio for this kind of thing than most anyone you're going to be able to find in this whole area. And we have a best of class faculty lined up, and classes are going to be taught to which the community is going to be invited, to which, of course, all of our TLC folks are going to be invited, around things like drama, dance, music, worship leading, video production, editing, painting, photography, and on and on and on. That's launching this fall. Our goal is to use the unusual giftedness that we've been given around the arts to build that up among our children, among all the adults who want to, and for arts to be a unique way that we spread God's love in ever-widening circles. That throughout the year here at TLCC, there'll be more and more artistic expressions, curated art shows, phenomenal Broadway shows. I mean, you see, you don't even realize, guys, the kind of talent that's on this stage, especially since Broadway shut down. We have people, let's just say, for instance, Justin Hornbeck, who was up here playing today. I don't know a lot about Broadway, but I'm told he's one of the top musical conductors in Broadway. Justin's just up here serving. Justin, stand up with your brand new baby back there. Congratulations, guys. And he's volunteering his time. He's up here because he's a part of TLCC, and he's a part of the worship life team. And and I could start pointing out other folks like that, but today I'll pick on Justin. You were awesome today, Justin, by the way. And so we have people like that who are here. Anyway, in a variety of ways, we want to use the arts to spread God's love in ever-widening circles. And our goal, particularly, is in the year 2025 that we'll have more than 10,000 people at our Christmas show. You know that our Christmas show is amazing. You should know that a lot of what we're doing is a very careful, step-by-step process to where we think we can pull off a show of that magnitude, which would mean many, many shows, and people visiting anyway, so that we're working on that. That's something where we're executing vision right now. And the second thing is our TLCC online campus. And so, to talk more about that, and so you know what's going to happen the rest of our time together, Amanda and Christian are going to come and talk about this for a few minutes, and hopefully in a way that all of you I want you to be informed. I want you to know. I want you to own this. I want you to see how you can participate in it. And I especially want all the folks who are watching online to know what it is that we're trying to do for you so that you can live the life God dreamed for you as we spread his love in ever-widening circles. Guys, you know, Amanda and Christian have done an amazing job leading here at TLCC for many years. Everything they've touched has just been blessed, and we're so grateful for them. You also know that they're moving to London this fall, where a Christian is going to be pursuing his PhD in theology and the arts. He's doing this on a missional basis. He feels called to do this. It's connected to some extent with our all-in for the arts and all of this stuff. But Christian's vision is to impact the church around arts everywhere, and I believe God's going to use him to do that. But as they move to London, they're going to continue to be a part of our team, and they're going to be leading our online campus from London. It's very, very exciting. Christian's mother's not happy about the London part, but I'm thrilled. Christian is, by the way, my son. That means Amanda is my daughter-in-law. We don't normally talk about that all the time. By the way, Amanda was on the team long before Christian. And when I hired Amanda, I didn't understand that the two of them had started to become serious in their relationship. I may not have hired her if I'd known she'd have come in and stole my son when he was so young. But anyway, she's an amazing leader, been a long-time member of our staff. You guys see Christian all the time. And they're going to talk a little bit about our online campus and begin to introduce themselves to all of you watching online. Everybody welcome our online campus pastors, Amanda and Christian Smith.
Well, that's why we had to keep our relationship secret for a while there.
Well, it's also kind of funny because he mentioned us moving to London, and we did actually just purchase our one-way tickets to London.
Yep.
And Sharon responds to me with, well, I just bought your tickets coming back.
Yeah.
So right now what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of minutes here to kind of go over the vision and the mission of TLCC Online.
Yeah, and we're going to be able to talk about how we're going to try and accomplish the mission of TLCC through an online community, an online campus. And so for you who are in West Orange, this is an ability for you to kind of know the family business, what we're doing at TLCC, this next stage in our mission, and also to show you ways that you might be able to serve the online campus, even if you still would like to attend the West Orange campus. And for everyone watching online, of course, we're going to be telling you about what the online campus is going to look like, how you can get involved, and to experience the pathway and to move towards the life God dreams for you through an online campus. And I think this is sometimes a difficult question or conversation that we face and that we've been dealing with in thinking about how to launch this campus. And by we, I mean Amanda, because she's going to be doing 90% of the work on the online campus, and then I'll just pop on the camera on Sundays and flip my hair back and forth and say hello. And I'll just say hello to people in our flat in London. And she's really doing all the heavy lifting and ideation, but kind of the church around the world right now is trying to figure out how to do online church well. Because I'm sure when all of us think about an online campus, our minds might kind of be confused for a second. Maybe red flags don't go up, but some color of, shade of yellow or orange flag comes up. Because when you think about going to church, depending on your experiences, you think about having a group of people that you're sitting in church with, or you're going to church with your family, or dropping your kids off at a children's ministry. So how does an experience that is just visual, you're sitting in your house and you're watching, end up holistically impacting the rest of your life to where it's not just a streaming service or it's like watching YouTube, because you can get that anywhere. You can watch online music videos, you can watch messages online, you can get content. What we're trying to do is to figure out how to actually have a true church community, holistic life change experience through online.
That's right. And a lot of the things that we discovered during our research process for figuring out what does an online campus look like, what can it look like, a lot of times we would reach out to churches who said that they have an online campus, and then when I would actually get someone on the phone, they would say, well, we're actually just streaming our service online. And so that's kind of the model we were trying to avoid. We didn't just want it to just be just something you just watch online and then that's it. We wanted it to be something that we're inviting people into, a mission, a community, a vision that we're inviting people into to participate with, connect with. And so we're trying to be innovative with how we engage our TLCC online family within the local church community. And so we'll talk about this in a little bit, but some of the things that we'll be doing exclusively for online campus is launching remote life teams where people can use their gifts to serve, something that we're calling TLCC houses, an innovative in-person community model. So basically we're hoping that people can feel connected in a different kind of way, where it's not just consuming a service or watching something, where they're being invited into a family, to a community.
Yeah. And so Pastor briefly talked about the pathway that we've launched today, an updated version of it. And so just as that exists for our West Orange campus, so it will also exist for our online campus, because if we are actually inspiring people to the life that God dreams for them for an online campus, it has to accomplish the pathway. So we've been given the difficult task of translating everything in the pathway that might be obvious as to how it would function at a physical campus, either West Orange or elsewhere, to the online experience. And I think why we can be really excited about the pathway, or why I'm excited about the pathway, is because it's like, to me, it's like if you walk into a gym and like you want to start working out, you want to get in shape, and you walk in and it's like, maybe you don't have that much experience working out. Maybe, you haven't worked out in a while, and there's like all these different machines and equipment and different weights, and how many reps do I do? And what do I do over time? And which days do I work out what? And how long do I need my muscles to rest? Nutrition and all of those different kinds of questions. Well, it's much easier if you walk into the gym and they hand you a workout, guide, or you go online, you find a guide to help you know how to become fit. Well, in Christianity, I think it's a really similar thing, in that it's a spiritual fitness that we are developing in our lives and growing towards God and what He has for us. And so the pathway is like the basic set, a difficult set of things to follow through all of them, but a basic pathway or training guide for someone that they walk in the first day. It's not just like, hey, come here, it's going to be great. It will be great, but it's like, hey, like if you want to grow in your life with God, like here's an actual strategic discipleship plan that you can begin to work through. So that's like going to become as our pastoral team, our overriding framework for really everything that we do. And so what we're launching today is kind of like a beta version of a way to engage practically with the pathway online. So if you go to tlcc.org/pathway, /pathway. You can see it right now, and it looks like if you're in West Orange, you can see it on the screen here or online. You guys can see that. To where at any point, if you're wondering what's next for me, what muscle group do I work out next? And for new people here at TLCC, you can just jump on there and see all these different opportunities and kind of self-select what best fits you, to where you can click on the pathways interactive. You can click on it, you can get information. It becomes a hub of next steps, and you can sign up, learn more about every element of the pathway. So we hope that you'll begin to utilize that, and we'll be unveiling new things with our pathway that will hopefully serve you as we're moving forward in these next few weeks.
Yeah, so right now we're just going to take a couple of minutes to unpack how TLCC Online can take advantage of this amazing opportunity and engage with the pathway. And this is a huge part of what it means to be connected to the community of TLCC Online. So we're going to start with grow in your life with God. We have something that's called the Spiritual Growth Plan. Do you mind telling us a little bit more about that?
Yes, our Spiritual Growth Plan, our pastoral team writes a daily devotional. We have recommended readings that all collect around our trimester theme, which is how we organize our years at TLCC. So that's all already fit and ready to be utilized for our online campus to be able to study scripture. And we'll be doing things really practical, like, all right, we have a recommended reading. Well, typically we're selling them here at our resource lounge if people would like to pick them up pretty much at cost, but just so people can receive those. But we'll have easy access for our online campus. It's going to be curated and crafted to the people who are on the online campus to deliver it to them in a special way.
Absolutely. And even something like baptism. How do you baptize someone who is engaged in an online campus? Well, we're really working hard to think around creative ways to include everyone in this process, and we have some people that have engaged with TLCC Online from different states or different countries who have actually come here to the West Orange campus to be baptized on one of our baptism Sundays. Well, that's one way that we want to be able to engage. And we're trying to think of other ways that we can also do that, whether it's partnering them with a local pastor or someone who has a pastoral leadership in their life to baptize them where they are. But we are trying to think through a system and a process.
Or we might consider traveling to people or sending some of our pastoral team members or connect pastors to go baptize people where they are. So there are different ways that we're trying to actually make this happen.
Yes, absolutely.
And then the next part on grow in your life with God, and the last part of the beginning of this pathway that kind of launches you out into even more opportunities at TLCC is what we're calling our Area of Destiny course, which is a new course here at TLCC that I'm working on with Olivia Betances, and I'm so excited for what this is going to become. If you've been here for a while, you may have taken Live 10 classes before, or Grow 1.0 classes, and even a version of an Area of Destiny class. Well, this is going to be a longer experience, about a 7 or 8 week experience that is going to be unexperienced. It's going to be really cool, and to help you understand what God has gifted you with, what your passions are, what the needs are in the world, and where God might be calling you in your life. So you'll learn about it and learn how to hopefully take practical steps in your area of destiny. And all of our classes, all of our courses are going to be available online in a special way for online viewers, and not just for those who are at a physical campus. So we'll be trying to serve you and have those meaningful conversations.
And this next part, participate in life together. This part of the pathway has been particularly exciting for us to brainstorm around, because we were presented with a challenge to figure out a way to transcend how online can sometimes disconnect people from in-person community, and really transcend that and creating an environment where people truly can connect within community. And so in the first item within Participate, we've got life groups, and then something that we're calling TLCC houses. So a lot of you guys already know what life groups are. They're small groups where you're either it's activity-based or based on the talks around the sermon, and we provide life groups with curriculum, and that's just kind of for people to grow when you're part of a larger community or congregation like TLCC, to grow in intimacy in smaller groups. But something that we felt like we were missing with an online format was this kind of in-person community, and a community in general. But one thing that we kind of learned in our discovery process and researching and asking other churches what they were doing was, especially during the quarantine, when we were all quarantined and we all had to engage online in some way or another. One thing that I learned from people sharing with me was that when we were disconnected and all of us were kind of online, people found their community with those who were directly around them, whether it was a neighbor or a roommate or a family member or even someone that they Zoomed with regularly. That became their church community when we missed that interpersonal, lobby experience or seeing someone in the auditorium. That was their church. And so that really hit me hard thinking about that. And so we came up with this idea to start something called TLCC houses. So I'm just going to break that down just a little bit for you. So a TLCC house is a community of people who are all connected and engaged to the mission of TLCC online. And so the purpose of houses is to invite more and more people to the mission, to join the mission. So it's a wonderful on-ramp to help grow that community. But also houses, although they operate similarly as life groups, because we would provide house curriculum if that's something that you decide to do as a house, they're not meant to stay small like life groups are. They're meant to grow large. So they're essentially a congregation of TLCC. And so houses will also be provided with house hosts. So those are positions that people can step up into. And it's a TLCC member who is spiritually and personally connected to the mission of TLCC and a person who's living a life of integrity. And they're responsible essentially for basically pastoring their house group and growing their TLCC house with the support of the online campus pastors and another position we hope to grow, a house host coach. So the overall vision and DNA of the houses basically is, one, we say TLCC houses do the five. So they engage with TLCC online weekend experience, whether it's, together, watching together online, or whether it's throughout the week in their own time, because sometimes that's just what works better for everyone's schedule. They're meeting together in person. So this is something intentional. It's not just people, a house isn't just made of people who are tuning in together. It's also they're doing life together. They're doing community together. So that could be just getting together for dinner, or if it's a virtual house, meeting up, once a week or once a month on Zoom. That could be engaging with the house curriculum together. But the idea is that they're staying as a house and they're operating as one house. So even if a house grows to, let's say, 50 plus people and they want to maintain this kind of a small group intimacy, well, then a house can then have life groups within it. But before it gets to that size, you can still operate in that small group capacity. And then 4, invite more and more people, or I think it's 3, invite more and more people to share the mission. It's kind of creating this invite culture, sharing a link with someone or having them jump in on in a way that would be best for that person, whether it's on a life team or on a Plus Life mission, or whatever it may be. And the last 2 is encourage people to join, again, a life team, getting people involved, and then encouraging people to engage in Plus Life missions. And we'll go into that within the next section of the pathway, but that just gives you a little bit of an idea of like how we're trying to incorporate this community where people are doing life together, they're involved in the local church, and they're serving the mission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're really excited about this idea. Imagine just pockets of people in physical communities growing in areas around the country, around the world. We're going to have people watching, all over the country, really. Even in the last chat, it was like Kentucky, Florida, Georgia, New York, South Jersey. We had Liberia, London. So imagine the possibility of a few communities being able to develop over time, and people can have this really cool experience with the online campus that's impacting their lives.
Absolutely.
And then next on Participate in Life Together is Welcome to the Life, which is an online course that we already have that if you want to become a member at TLCC, you can take that online. And it tells you about who we are, what we believe, and how you can get involved. And so that's also going to be available online for our online campus. And we normally have a new member celebration at our West Orange campus where we have a really cool experience for everyone who's becoming a member within our service. But we're going to translate that to an experience in your home, maybe with your house, so that you can have a meaningful membership celebration as well.
And finally, another essential way to participate in life together is through serving on a life team. We have created these remote life teams that anyone can jump in on and serve throughout the week. We've got basically life teams within leadership and administrative roles, creative roles, pastoral roles. We also have teams that we call our connect teams. Those are our chat hosts and chat moderators, or people who are engaging on social media. So it's such an easy way to jump in really wherever you are to serve within the local church community.
Yeah, a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
And then last of all is on the GPS that you utilize to follow the pathway to the life God dreams for you is spread God's love. And the first component of this is Plus Life missions. We have tons of Plus Life local and global mission opportunities. And so for our online campus, what we're hoping to do is to be able to connect you wherever you are with local serving opportunities that you might have in your areas as we try and form partnerships nationally with different groups. You can serve Plus Life local, as Amanda said, to have houses that you can serve with. And also different sorts of ways that we're to be doing serving is for Plus Life Global, where we have missions opportunities in, let's say, Ghana or India or other areas that we've gone to, is that if you live in another part of the world and not around here, you can still meet up with our mission teams. Let's say if it's West Orange based, you can meet them on the ground there and to serve with them as well.
Right, and all of the roles that we're talking about in terms of people leading these things, those are opportunities for people to step up into. So we don't have a large online staff that are leading these things. We're expecting and hoping that the church will step up and help to lead these roles. And these are great opportunities for leadership, like, for instance, a Plus Life mission coordinator. That person would help to coordinate, whether it's an online campus attender plugging into what we're doing here at West Orange on a trip to Ghana, et cetera. So these are exciting leadership opportunities that are available really for anyone who feels called to lead in that capacity.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we move on to stewardship in the pathway. And as we all know, God is, everything that we have is God's. And all the blessings that we have in our lives, if that's our, as people often say, time, talent, and treasure, are all things that God has given us. And so we also believe this is going to be an important value for the online campus. And specifically, a part of stewardship is financially, and that's committing to what Scripture teaches in a tithe, and committing to supporting the work of God in this world through the local church community. So for everyone who's on the online campus, it'll be the same as if you were at a West Orange campus, and where we would talk about what it means to steward what God has given us well, and the blessings that come to us in our lives when we do follow His teachings and steward well all the gifts that He's given us.
Yes, and we're giving opportunities to give specifically to the campus you attend as well. So that's also going to be available online. And finally, share your faith. I feel like, especially now with the way that church has evolved in this online community, it's never been easier to invite someone to church, especially if you're a part of TLCC Online. You could share a link with them. You could invite them to engage in your life group or join a life team or join your TLCC house. So there's just so many different ways that you can invite others to the mission of TLCC. There's just no boundaries. So it's just great because now church is where they are. And there's fewer impediments that keep them from experiencing the life God dreams for them.
Absolutely. Well, okay, so that's the pathway for the online campus. And we hope that you guys now have a better understanding of what we're trying to accomplish with TLCC Online. But here's some next steps for you, practical ones, both for those who are here in West Orange and those who are watching online. And the first one is, if you are watching online or you plan to be a part of the online campus, we would love if you would let us know. And if you're watching online, you can click the connect link above the video on your screen and then click the button that says, "Are you in?" Are you in? Hit that. And it has some information there that we'd love to get from you as an important next step. Let us know if you're ready to join the online campus and consider it your campus. And let us know if you want to get involved to serve in some way on a life team.
Yes, and if you are a part of our West Orange campus, you are totally welcome to join in and serve within TLCC Online during our launch season. You can also scan the QR code and click Online Campus and then click Are You In? So there's plenty of opportunities for you to jump in on the excitement as well.
Yep, definitely.
Yep. And then finally, let us know if you would like to fill out an invitation request. So this is something that we're doing that's new. We're trying to create creative ways for you to invite others to the mission. And so one of the things that we've developed is an invitation request. So that is where you can get a request for us to send a personal, unique invitation to someone who you think would want to be a part of TLCC Online. And a lot of my friends who, live here, or they have family members in other states or countries, who tune in to TLCC Online, this is a great opportunity for us to invite them to the mission, and a great next step. So basically, the invitation would include a short message from Christian and myself, a vision overview of TLCC Online, and a complimentary copy of Pastor Terry Smith's book, Live 10, Jumpstart the Best Version of Your Life.
So some next steps we hope that you will act on so that we can move forward in our attempt to really spread God's love in ever-widening circles through TLCC Online. Our worship team is going to come and lead us in another song of worship. We hope you're getting ready to worship with us if you're watching online. And if you're at our West Orange campus with us, if you would please stand and join us in a time of worship.